Everything has happened just as I said it would. Now I will announce what will happen next. Those are God's words recorded by the prophet Isaiah. If we look back, we can verify that God's former prophecies were 100% accurate. As we look forward, his unfulfilled last days prophecies will be 100% accurate. We're approaching our 800th prophecy update here on a Sunday morning. Never in all that time have so many of the things the Bible predicts been so obviously trending all at once. We're going to talk about Israel in just a second, but let me give you one other trend just to tell you what I mean. Prophet Daniel in the Old Testament was told in the last chapter of his book, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. So generally we get from that some of the things that God had revealed to Daniel, namely about the 70 weeks of Daniel in chapter 9, they wouldn't really be discovered or understood until the last days. And that's true if you look back at Bible history and the history of the church. And then he added this little phrase, knowledge shall increase, and we take that to mean that there's going to be an exponential explosion of knowledge in the last days. And we used to talk about how often the knowledge of the world doubled. You know, it took 10 years, or 100 years and 50 years and 10 years and all that. And that was exciting. But now we're experiencing exponential knowledge like never before. And it's going crazy. A big part of that is artificial intelligence, as that is just off the charts in terms of what it's able to do. But there's other areas of advance as well. I read a headline this week that said, scientists accidentally create new material that could make computer chips 1 million times faster. If that's not exponential growth of knowledge, I'll eat a bug. Remember Cal Worthington in Southern California? I'll eat a bug to make a deal. Anyway, those are things I wish I had Bible verses memorized and not Cal Worthington. But Israel, shifting gears, is at the heart of the last days prophecies. These are three areas of prophecy that have been miraculously fulfilled already by Israel. God prophesied that Israel would be scattered all over the world. She was. God prophesied that Israel would be regathered to her land. She has been. God promised that Israel would be a nation again. She is. And this is ongoing. God prophesied that Israel would be a source of trouble for all the nations of the earth. And believe me, we are seeing that right now as we scan the globe for different events. In the wake of Israel's retaliation against Hamas for their brutal massacre of innocent people, we're witnessing a worldwide hatred for the Jews. CNN reports a new wave of anti-Semitism threatens to rock an already unstable world. The article focused on the United States, where incidents of anti-Semitism are up 400%. Here's a quote from that article. It says, there is a climate of growing fear. Jewish day schools have canceled classes. Synagogues are locked. Social media has pulsated with hatred against Jews, leaving a community that can never escape its historic trauma, yet again wondering where and when it can ever be safe. Meanwhile, Reuters posted an article titled, Open Hatred of Jews Surges Globally. The quote from that article, in Los Angeles, a man screaming, kill Jews, attempted to break into a family's home. In London, girls in a playground are told they are stinking Jews and should stay off the slide. In China, posts likening Jews to parasites, vampires, or snakes proliferate on social media, attracting thousands of likes. Elsewhere, in Milan, Italy, anti-Israel protesters shouted, open the borders so we can kill the Jews. In Toronto, Canada, pro-Hamas protesters harassed diners at a Jewish-owned cafe. In Thessaloniki, Greece, a mural at a Holocaust memorial was defaced with Jew equals Nazi and free Palestine. The Argentine federal police arrested an individual who posted on social media a threat to go to a Jewish school and shoot as many kids as I can. In France, 80 Stars of David were painted on apartment buildings and banks in Paris and suburbs. Protesters outside the Opera House in Sydney, Australia, shouted, gas the Jews. A crowd of people stormed an airport in Russia's mostly Muslim region of Dagestan, where a flight from Israel arrived on Sunday chanting, "There is no place for child killers in Dagestan." I saw some of the footage of that, probably you did too, and it's terrifying. Imagine getting off the plane at LAX, or Fresno rather, get off your plane at Fresno and you see hundreds and hundreds of people, Muslims, who are wanting to know if you're a Jew, grabbing passports and all. It's not a safe environment. And then just this morning I read about, I think yesterday's protests at the White House, thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters. This is satanic. There is no other way to understand it. This is not just problems among nations. This kind of stuff doesn't happen except to the Jews because the devil wants to destroy them. His last play, now that Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead to save mankind, the last play that the devil has is to kill every living Jew, because then God will forfeit his promises to save the Jews and have them rule and reign with him in his kingdom. And so that's what's going on. It's a worldwide excitement to exterminate the Jews. We consider all this a setting the stage for the Antichrist to rise up and make peace in the Middle East. I don't see any direct fulfillment of certain prophecies in what's happening currently. There's passages in Psalm 83 and Ezekiel 38 and 39 that give different nations, lists of nations doing different things to Israel, and those nations aren't really aligned right now when they should be. And besides, in Ezekiel 38 and 39, it says that there's an attack coming by a coalition of nations against Israel, but it will come when they are dwelling in safety, it says, with unwalled villages. And so this is all turmoil, wars, and rumors of war that Jesus predicted, and somehow it's setting the stage for the Great Tribulation. Now, the thing I do know is that the church will not be on the earth during the Great Tribulation. We can't know when all of this is going to happen. We may have to endure much hardship before the rapture and factor in that God may decide to bring judgment upon our nation for our national sin, separate from all this prophetic stuff. We can't be sure exactly when the tribulation will begin, but we can be sure we won't be here for it. Jesus promised his church, "I will keep you from out of the trial which will come upon the whole world to test those who dwell on the earth." That's Revelation 3:10. He keeps us entirely out of those years by resurrecting the dead in Christ and rapturing living believers. The return of the Lord for us is imminent. Nothing has to happen. And as we are rapidly moving towards things happening like the Antichrist and the tribulation, what is imminent is, you can't really say it's more imminent, but you know what I mean. It's got to be sooner than later. Are you ready for the rapture? If not, get ready and stay ready and keep looking up, because, ready or not, Jesus is coming.